Welcome back. It's part 3. I'm going to try and make this the last part. All right, so we're doing neck, and just up top there's 1, 2, 13 problematic areas. These are stainless steel frets because I can tell the way the file feels on them. They're very hard, but the 0 is not. I can tell it's not, and it's sharp on the edges. I'll have to fix that, and I'll just polish that one after I check these levels, and then I'll see if it's too high or not. But anyway, that's where I'm at. I've worked on here, and I've got a really high one here. That's 22. This one's almost fixed, so I'm going to continue working on that, move down to there, get them all crowned up and polished up, and maybe we can, reintegrate the electrics. I wish to report the leveling went well. It wasn't too difficult. On these stainless steel frets, they have the rounded ends, and when you use your sanding stones, like I have these in different grades, when you get close to the edges, you kind of square it off a little bit. The crowning file is quite handy in going around the corners and just putting that rounded curve back on them again on both sides. I just wanted to bring that up. So now after I've done the leveling, I use my crowning file to soften the edges or create the initial curve by going, side to side until I feel that they're smooth and that the sandpaper crowning can do the rest as I normally do. So this is the most physical part of this work. I need more 320. We're going to use up this piece anyway. So this is the most physical part, but it does accomplish the softening of the edges in the quickest amount of time. That gets you right down to the steel wool polishing. I learned this from Dave's World of Fun a few years ago, and after I found how to do it like this, I've never gone back to trying to do one at a time with the crowning file and sandpapers and all that stuff. It's just too much work. This is way easier. Now I normally start with a 220. I guess I should get some 320, more 320, because the other frets usually are softer and they get squared off a lot more, but these are harder, and I'm not going to go 220 because I've already softened the edges, and I'm going to go 320, 400, 6/8, 1,000, 15, 2,000, and then the steel wool polishing. Okay, so just that, and taking a look, yeah, you see, it's already putting nice edges on this with no problem. So basically, all I have to do is get a piece of 320. I have a big bag of sandpapers, and I have them all by gauges. And I have 2,000 320s. This is automotive grade sandpaper because it's the best, because automotives deal with metal as well. Okay, brand new piece of that. And we are good to go. And there it is. Okay, get the flat side. And we've done up to here. Let's start on those. And I also soften the edge a little bit. Push it in so it softens the corners, and that'll give you a little bit better rounding on the edges of the frets. Now, of course, I spend more time in an area where I actually did some grinding off the top. The frets that I didn't touch, I tried to miss them as much as possible. And after this stage, I go back with my fret rocker and just make sure I'm still there, because this does take off some of the surface at the top as well. I'm just putting my finger here because I don't want to touch the 0 fret. Now, there was 2 down here that were really serious. The other ones were not that bad. I think I'm going to touch the 0 fret. It's a little bit too close to the nut though, but it has a little bit of a rough surface on it. Not that it matters that much, but we just want to make it smooth anyway. I like to use up all the sandpaper I can. I'm frugal. And just get over on the edges a little bit too. That helps to smooth them off and keep them that way. Alright, that one goes. And there's a little bit left on here. Feeling good. Alright, clean the surface. Check it again. Now I noticed on this guitar that the 0 fret is higher than all the rest of them. It's kind of like a jumbo fret, and these are mediums. And if there's any tweaking to do, you want to do it at this level, like there, before you get too far into the smoothing. That end is just a tad. Of course, under the small strings, you want it to be really good. And I didn't get enough off here. Now you see, after I put the crown back on, where they were flat before, it's not flat again. That's why I check at this point, before I get too far, and then have to go back too far. did a good job. One I didn't touch in the middle now is just a tad. And so now I go back and I touch those up and continue on the process and check again after 400. It only takes minutes to crown all of the frets this way. Minutes. I mean 10 or less. Once you get past the 400 and you've gotten all the little imperfections and heights that have still occurred, by the time you hit the 6 and on, the grooves are much smaller. That was created by the filing, and it goes much faster as you get to the higher and higher numbers. There's a 15. Oh, what's this one? Did I get the 2000 wrong? Yeah, this is the 15. And then 2000. Put a hand on the neck here. You can feel it when it gets smoother and smoother. The sound changes as well to softer. Let me just clean up that 0 fret. Plenty left, so I like to go a little bit more and use up the sandpaper. Like I said, it's only minutes, so it doesn't really matter. Frets are forever under your fingers. So a few minutes more, doesn't matter. As I've said before, I can typically do a whole fret job in about an hour and a half when I'm really going at it, and that's not that hard either. Today I'm just taking a little bit extra time. I'm slowed right down. I'm just coming up on an hour and 55 minutes right now because I've gone and, of course, made some coffee in the meantime. It's morning time here on a Friday, second day of spring. The day before spring we had 19 degrees centigrade. Today it's -3 again. The real spring weather starts in April. $2,000 on the 0. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That is nice. Okay. You get your fingers dirty though. Lots of dust. But yeah, way better than spending hours crowning and filing and stuff. It just doesn't go as fast and it doesn't do as good a job, in my opinion. I mean, in the end, after all the work you put into it, it gets best. But and I forgot to mention something. This is a 24 inch scale, and I was surprised that my Fender ruler fit on here, my fret ruler. It fit this scale. I was thinking it was going to be more like Gibson, but it wasn't. The Gibson was quite off. are now going to do the steel wool. The edges are still very nice. Now, the other thing is that I get a big roll of steel wool like this at my dollar store for a couple of bucks. Yep, a couple of bucks at the dollar store. All the tape, dollar store. It's not so good on the scissors, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Okay. So I just give a fold on the end like that. When you get down here, you can do several at a time. I usually do 2. And this stuff makes all the dust mess. If you have pickups in there, make sure you tape them up well and super clean the guitar before you take any of the tape off. You don't want any of these things left around your pickups when you're done. This too, at the end, it doesn't really take that long. Do the sandpaper as well like that. This doesn't take long at all. You know, it takes about, I'd say 10 minutes to put the tape on. It takes about 10 minutes to go through all the sandpapers. Leveling is about the longest part, getting it right. Now that I'm not using a full-length leveling beam, and I'm using the smaller ones, I can do sections at a time. And I find it easier. It's easier because I don't have to cut the sandpaper to put on my long beam. I still have it. If I really needed it, I would use it. Now as you use this, you know, just move down. These stainless go very quickly. They're so much harder. Shine very fast. I go by feel. I go by sound. You can hear the steel wool working on the fret. You can feel it under your thumb when it gets smooth. And my buddy J-Man has showed this as well. He used to send his necks away to have somebody else do them, and then a couple of years ago now, I think it was, that I said, why are you doing that? It's not that hard. I just explained to him how I was doing it, and he's adopted some of my stuff and he's modified it to his preferences these days. A Music Nomad shield that he has to put on guitars, and I don't know if they make one for a 24. I suspect that you have to have one for each scale length. I could be wrong, but makes sense to me. And they're 70 bucks a piece here. You know, I get a roll of tape like this for 2 bucks, and I can do, you know, 40 guitars with a roll of tape like that at least. Out of the 70 guitars, this is number 70. I think I've just started maybe onto my 3rd roll of tape. So that's pretty cheap. And for me, that's the way to go. because I'd like to save money to spend on other things. Yep, that is looking really good. Couple more to go. And then of course once I do all of this, it's untape, clean with lighter fluid or naphtha, all of the gummy. If the fretboard has any of those scratches in it, when it's, you know, rosewood, Indian laurel or whatever, I will, you know, put some 4-0 steel wool on it as well, smooth it out and clean it up, and then do the oiling with the lemon oil. I got a message. I'll also put my foot on the switch. Okay, I vacuumed in the pause. Since my hands are still dirty, I'm going to take all this tape off. I'll say it again, I prefer working on necks that are not attached to bodies. It's usually easier, but I didn't have much problem with this one because this frets down here at the end weren't too bad. There's just one too close to the body here. This one, proximity, but everything else was out in the open and exposed. So it wasn't that difficult and not that dangerous for the body. Oh, there's still some dust around. Let's see how good. Maybe I should put 2 strips along here instead of just one. This is supposed to help get all the tape off more quickly. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And this tape is really sticking today. Get that end up. Now, sometimes you get a lot, like today I'm getting a lot. But sometimes it breaks away. The sandpaper sometimes cuts the edge here on one or both sides, like that one. And then you gotta pick them off. This is a new roll of tape today, and the adhesive is quite strong compared to what the last roll was. Yeah, that's all doing good. That's good. The nut is still the black plastic. I left it. Doesn't do anything but guide the strings. The jack in the bottom is one of those long ones that goes through the body. They didn't drill out a big hole and put a cup. They just drilled a hole big enough to put that jack through. Not that crazy about those. That's my first guitar with one of those. I got a spare screw. I put a magnetic strip up here yesterday to, can you see it? To put some of my stuff on, but this lamp is in the way. Right there. Back to the main show. Okay, a little bit of tape left here. All right, I'm gonna have to do some more vacuuming. There's a little bits of steel wool dust everywhere. And now we will just clean the goo off with some of my lighter fluid, also known as naphtha. The bottle's almost done. This bottle has gotten me through 70 guitars. Well, actually more, because some guitars are not here anymore. And some guitars I've decommissioned. So it's probably closer to 75 guitars. And then after that, I turn it on the inside where it's clean. And I get to reuse some of the naphtha that's already on there. And then just go after the board. Section by section. And what's going to happen here is that we're going to get some of the remaining dust from the frets coming off. And contributing to their cleanliness, including whatever, manufacturing dirt is still on the fretboard and in the pores. And then we'll go on the inside again. Switch hands. Ambidextrous. There's a little bit of white on the edge of my Laurel. I should say fretboard. There's a, okay, I think they got a little bit of white paint up on that. It does look like they put some kind of a strip around the edge of the fretboard, black, to seal in the edges. That's new. I haven't seen that done before. Unless you had the binding all the way around. I guess this is their version of binding. Oh, it's a little bit more white down here, of course, because that's closer to where the buffing is on the body. Just gonna do a little scrape of that white paint. Most of it's coming off. Oh, you know what? I think they painted the fretboard all the way up and then they put that black strip. They glued it on somehow. Okay, sometimes you gotta leave well enough alone. Yep, leave well enough alone. Sometimes we forget about trying to do stuff like that. Leave well enough alone. Okay, Next step is the lemon oil by Dunlop. I use a glove. Because it's economical, makes the oil go even further. And again, still 2/3 of a bottle, 75 guitars. Stuff has about doubled in price since I bought it, 2015. So I like to rub it into the pores. And get it right up to the frets. Oh, the label's coming off because of the oil. Look at that. After all of these years. This is good adhesive. I guess it would have been boring to watch me do all of that in real time. So I just sped it up a little bit. Just a little bit. Keep away from children. Do not swallow. This tape will likely also succumb to the oil at some point. All right. So I didn't get my hands any dirtier doing that. I'm just going to put that aside for now. And we'll use this spare piece of shop towel to go after this. So I'll put my hand on it like that and heat it up. And you look at it, you'll see that some of the oil in the pores comes up. So I always let it sit for a while for that to, you know, seep in, bleed through the grain, and dry up before going on. I was able to secure another pink bag on Temu. These are advertised as 12 millimeter. I checked and it's about 10, but it's really nice. It's got a neck support built in. Super large bag at the bottom, super large at the top. Pockets and stopper at the bottom. Okay. Pretty nice straps. Now these come on every so often in the pink. There's pink, gray, and black. I've gotten all three colors. This is my second pink. Captain America Europe went in the other one. So Brian is going in this one. Now these I can buy for, I think it's, when they're on sale, $28 on Temu. Most often it's the gray or the black. Rarely it's the pink. When it's not, they go for about $36 and change Canadian. And they're really good bags. Really good bags. Really impressed with those. So I just thought I'd let you know about the bag while we're waiting for Brian to fully dry. I've polished the body again and the neck. Feels good. People sometimes ask questions about width and thickness, and I usually have strings on by then. And I rarely ever do this because I don't really care. Some people do. So, let me see. on 0. What is the width? That's the nut. Well, I know it's a, okay, 43.53. 7, 49.33. 12, 52.2. I'm way up there. 55.2. Let's try this without doing any damage. 23.83. Let's go 7. 25.4 at the 12. 25.04. Between here and there it's the same. And down here before the curve, 15, it's 25.6. So it doesn't change that much. It's quite flat in a C shape. This feels good, you know. This feels good. With some new strings, I think this is going to play pretty good. All right. The next step will be to go back to bench 2 and rehook up these wires for the jack and the claw and start reassembling. I did notice that these posts were a little bit jiggly, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of that copper foil on there to stop that from happening on each post. Doesn't take much, just a tadpole size. These posts are not as big as round as the anchor posts on a Les Paul, for instance. I'm having the holding on problem today. My hands are failing me. I'm going to put this right about in the center of the thread like that. So it starts in okay, and then it'll start to bite in this. Push it into the threads far in as you can go. Well, it just makes it all the way around this little piece, so that's good. And then that one will go in there, and this one will go on the other side. Getting it started straight is sometimes a problem because it sticks to your fingers really good. And wind it this way towards yourself, because when it screws in, you don't want the threads to try to unfurl the tape. bloody perfect. Who knew something would go right eventually? So yes, you can use this or the copper, no problem. For here, you can even use plumber's tape if you've got that, and keep it out of the showing because there's no connectivity here. The bridge is connected through the claw. Okay, I'll take a little break before I come back and integrate